The phrase that pays today is Younger Life. Woo!
That's right.
Woo! It pays to watch and listen and have a cool groove going. Thank you and welcome to Younger Life. I'm Rick Federici.
I'm Mary Anthony.
Mary Anthony, you look fantastic today as always.
So please, thanks.
You
one
feeling
of those
good?
days. I am. I'm
Me
feeling
too.
good. It's a
Me
good
too.
day. So just, one of those mornings. There's a bunch of stuff going on and just getting everything organized.
You
and
just
out the
mean
door.
life is happening
Life
with you, with
is
5
happening
children and a
on
husband.
Yeah. Life is busy and fun.
Do you tie into that husband and 5 children in your life, all other things that are going on and help other people all the time? It's probably your crazy day just kind of keeps going until you go to sleep and even then you're thinking about it.
Right. It's just busy, but I love it. I do. I love it. It's fun.
It keeps
all
you
good.
young and smiling.
It keeps me young, that's for sure.
So crazy weather in the Northwest Indiana, Chicago, Michigan corridor. Your hair looks picture perfect today. So I just want to let you know, as my gel looks good today.
It does. Mine will not look good very long with the rain.
But it is a little cray. Well, we've got a great show lined up today.
We do.
I just want to throw this out there. Today, we're going to be doing a tour. We're going to have a good friend of the show join us and talk about a big event. Let's start there.
Right. We're discussing the Running with Scissors event. LaPorte Hospital, as well as numerous partners, are taking place in this. It's a preparedness event about emergency preparedness. So it's really cool. It's not just one little aspect of preparedness, which is very important anyway, and a good time of year to discuss it when we're talking, storms and all kinds of other stuff that you need to make sure you're prepared for. But last week, you and I had the pleasure of taking a tour at the Edith House with the LaPorte City Fire Department. So we're going to discuss that. I'm going to be lucky enough to get to show a little bit of that clip and then and talk to Maddie from LaPorte Hospital, who's going to tell us about any other things going on during the event.
And speaking of Maddie, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the talented, the always ever-changing but always happy mom. Hi, Maddie. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. I wanted to be like, oh, stop. Okay, keep going. How are you guys doing today?
Absolutely phenomenal. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you. I'm happy to be here, and it's always good to talk to you guys.
Thank you. And see that great smile? Mom,
see.
Maddie, I got to ask you this question for the listeners and the viewers out there. You're a mom. How old is your child?
My oldest is going to be 4 in September, and my youngest is going to be 2 in August.
Look at her. It's time for more, Maddie.
They hit that 2-year-old mark. It's like, there they come. Here's another. That's funny. That's great.
Do we have a case of the terrible twos? Now, I don't know. I've never went through a terrible twos with my 2 daughters who are 18 and 22.
We had terrible 3s.
That's what we had.
It was very true. 2s, they were, pretty good. How about you,
Maddie?
My 2-year-old has a biting problem.
Okay.
He's been nicknamed Chomper at daycare, and I have no idea why. My almost 4-year-old, has never been a biter at all. So we're at home and I'm reading in books like, "Why are you biting? Stop it!" And he just looks at me like a boo-boo. Sorry, I don't know. Why I'm biting people. I am.
Well, I know you're joining us today because you have put together an event with your great team of professionals at LaPorte Hospital, this April 12th event. Can you talk a little bit about it? Because today's show revolves around that and some neat things we can all get involved with you and the team.
Yeah, in a little less than a week, on April 12th at the Civic Auditorium in LaPorte, the Running with Scissors and Other Things You Shouldn't Do interactive community experience is going to be happening. And our organization has partnered with several community partners, including the LaPorte YMCA, the LaPorte City Police Department, the LaPorte City Fire Department, EMS, EMA, and our staff and our car seat inspection technicians to create this event that is going to offer tons of value for anyone who decides that they want to come. And it's designed to prepare people in our community for virtually any emergency situation that could occur in our area.
That's fantastic. That's a lot of other people. I didn't
Yes.
realize that many were going to be there. Wow, that's fantastic. This is a family-friendly event, right, Maddie?
Yes, it's family friendly, and there's going to be a lot of activities, hands-on activities for adults and children to be able to participate in it as well.
Okay. And you said April 12th. The time. What time does that event run from?
It starts at 2 and it goes until 6 o'clock.
At the Civic.
There's going to be lots of emergency vehicles for the kids to take a look at: fire trucks, police cars, canine officer, Rambo, and Drangmeister are going to be there to do canine demonstrations.
Oh, how cool.
And
Yeah.
also the hazmat trailer is going to be there. It's this large, like 43-foot long trailer. They're going to park it on Ridge Street. We've closed off Ridge Street to park all these vehicles, so it's in a central location. The Edith House, which you guys toured last week and we'll show a little bit later on the show, will be parked on the main concrete walkway leading up to the main entrance. So there's going to be inside and outside portions of the event. On the opposite side of the Civic Auditorium is where the car seat inspections are going to take place. So they have a really easy access area. So you can pull in on one side, pull out on the other. And we've got several technicians there to check and make sure that your car seat's adequate for your child, if it's been recalled, if it's been damaged, and if you do need a new one will be provided for you.
Yeah,
That
this is really, really
fantastic.
great. A lot of us know, all of us being parents, and even when my daughters were little, car seats are very, very pricey, but we all know just how our children all grow. They grow out of those
Right.
car seats so fast.
Well, and it can be
you know?
confusing, to know which seat is the proper seat for
Agreed.
your child. So it's nice too to know that if you do come have your car seats looked at and find out you're not using the proper one, it's nice to know that one's provided. Maddie, is that free?
Yes, it is free. And even
Wow.
if you don't need a new car seat, the technicians will take your car seat out of your car and show you how to put it in properly. So if your car seat's adequate for your child, you could still be making some common mistakes, such as not tightening it enough. You should only have about an inch give when you attach the car seat anchors. If you have a rear-facing car seat, the car seat anchors need to go on the bottom. If you've got a forward-facing car seat, the car seat anchors need to go on the back side. And then you also need to anchor it in the back of the seat as well. Make sure all those straps are tight. The chest clip needs to be about armpit level. Your child should be able to look down and almost touch the chest clip with their chin. And those straps need to be tight to the touch. And you'll learn all of that information in a hands-on way with a car seat technician who will ensure that it's installed properly before you leave.
You could tell that
great.
she's got the ones that are in the car seats because she knows every single piece of information.
Yeah, it's
and I'm
great.
telling you, it's valuable, it's
It
life-saving,
is.
it's great.
It is, and even when you, there's always that little gray area where your child is outgrowing a current seat, but you're not sure, are they big enough yet for this one?
Sure.
So it's important, absolutely. If you just want to make sure, just to feel good that you've done your job right, you know what? Go check it out and let them help you walk, step through that. I think that's good
Maddie,
point.
one of the other great things that Mary and I were able to scope out when we were with the firefighters and we were with the Edith House, we did a great tour of the actual firehouse.
Right.
And in
Yeah,
the one
afterwards.
part, it was crazy the amount of car seats, and they've got all sections of that
Yeah.
firehouse where they have it. It was just neat to see and be reminded about
Right.
the importance of these seats and the way that they're put in. And I think the hardest thing for me as a father, and I know this might be for a lot of couples, moms and dads, grandparents, babysitters, people that use car seats, is how to effectively put it in there, keep it in there, and keep it from, this was the hard one, moving, snug it up. And so that's great that they're going to be able to show you, see how you have
Right.
it, and participate. In other words, it's a hands-on experience, which I
Right.
love,
Right.
I love that you're calling it an interactive experience
Yes.
for the community, because it's very true. And I think that's another great point on why bring family, bring your children. I think they remember those things so much more when they are hands-on. And what kid doesn't love to see fire trucks, ambulance, police? They love to see those vehicles. And so how neat for them to be able to get an up close look. Mm-hmm. And how cool
That's
with the
true.
canine dog.
Yes.
Really, that's
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
That's really
I'm
cool.
really excited about the canine officer coming to the event.
Well, and I think too, you all realize this too. A lot of our young little boys and young girls and families, they look up to our firefighters, our police
Absolutely.
officers, our technicians, these people that keep us safe. And it's just going to be neat because they truly are in their eyes like rock stars.
Oh, yeah.
And and we were with some great young folks as well. These are people that actually have family members that are also in that profession as well, or they might be volunteers, or they might work in helping save lives and keeping us safe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really cute to point out that, children do look up to these heroes in our own community. But, my 6-year-old, for years, when he's not saying he's going to grow up and be Spider-Man, he wants to be a police officer.
Beautiful.
So what's really neat is he has no problem going up to a cop, even a police officer he doesn't know, and just saying, yeah, when I grow up, I'm going to be one. I'm going to be a cop. He's very bold about it. It's really cute. And I think that that's fun. And we always say that would be great, whatever you want to do, So again, those are the days that he's not going to be Spider-Man. So it definitely jumps around a little bit, but he's always consistent. When it's not Spider-Man, it's a cop. So I think it's great. He's going to love that part.
Are
I'm
you
really
bringing
looking
all
forward
5
to it.
of your kids to the event on Tuesday?
I really was, this is terrible, but I was thinking it would be so much nicer to go during the day when they're still at school. But I think the little ones especially would love to see the police and the cars and the ambulance, the fire truck. So I'm torn. I'm still struggling, trying to figure out if I'm going to wait and come afterwards or not.
Well, Maddie,
So
I
we'll
wanted
see.
to throw this out there to you because, Mary and I have chatted with folks and, getting text messages and emails. I think it'd be kind of neat too, because you are an integral part of this event and your team at LaPorte Hospital, which are doing a phenomenal job. But it would be neat to get an on-site scope and have a TV crew there and get it and put it for a future installment of Younger Life, because if people can't physically get out there, but maybe we can give them a little bit of visual, and Maddie and the crew, and I think it would be wonderful. I don't know if you're
I think that's a great idea. I think that we should totally do that. And then we could keep it on Younger Life and maybe do it in different sections too,
Right.
because there are so many hands-on activities that are going to be at this event. And it might be longer than an hour to get through all the
So, right.
demonstrations,
Absolutely.
the free screenings, the interactive nursery that we're going to set up, and the hazmat decontamination areas that are going to be there
great.
as well. And
When you say screenings, would you tell us a little bit about
I
which
wanna hear about
screenings are going
that.
to be there?
yeah, sure. We're going to be offering free blood pressure screenings, bone density screenings, and waist circumference. Our rehabilitation services is going to do a balance assessment.
Oh.
I've learned more recently that balance issues can occur, are more widespread than I had previously thought. So I don't know the precise statistics, but they can do you get on a little trampoline and they have a series of different motions that you can go through that can determine whether or not you might have an underlying balance issue.
Wow.
I have a quick question to ask you. For a guy like Rick Federici, this is a guy question, Maddie, you're going to laugh. Is weight circumference, I'm going to check Rick Federici's belly and weight pretty much? Is that what that is? We're checking weight?
Well, it's just a measurement screening.
Measurement,
And then
okay.
the clinicians that are going to be providing it can give you a more in-depth answer to what those numbers will mean.
Can I tell you something here? This would be, and this is something that I would love to do. I would love to go out there, and I would love to. And like Maddie said, I think would be a killer part for Younger Life.
We'll let them tape you doing that.
I'll-
They're not
but-
measuring me.
I
They are
honestly,
not
can
gonna-
I tell you why this would be good? And we're thinking about it. And I encourage the viewers and the listeners to join in on this. And this is why. This could be step one. For me personally,
Yeah.
I am riding my bike. I am walking.
Right.
I am watching when I'm eating. But right now, I still would love to, between now and the Tour de LaPorte, I would love to lose about 20 pounds. But if they took measurements right now, which I could do, then I have a goal.
Yeah.
I always have a goal, Maddie. She's laughing. She's like, okay, old man. But no,
Yeah, well, you could just take those measurements, write them on your fridge on a little dry
Right.
erase board, and then keep track of them every couple of weeks and how you're changing
Oh, good
and how
Lord.
you're.
I would hide mine. I would not want them broadcasted. We have too many people in and out and friends over. No way. But I mean, you're right. It's important to know.
Sure.
You really should know. There are many different issues that can go along with knowing. You really should know. When we did the heart cart and they actually measure, besides your weight, they do that. And then of course they measure around the waist, they measure around your neck, which I was surprised about, but then they were explaining why, and it made perfect sense. So it is important to know all your numbers, even the ones you want to ignore. It's important.
Well, and I think too, and a lot of us go through this, it depends upon, like, I'll gain weight in the stomach area, but I'll notice, and this is what's weird, as I, get up in age, it goes to my face and underneath my chin. And so I'll know if I'm either maintaining, you're laughing.
No, it's always happened to
but
me.
It's me.
No, it's always
me.
happened to me like that. I always joke that I have Charlie Brown cheeks, and I get, that's always been a spot. I gain 2 pounds, I'll see it in my face first.
That happens to me as well, Mary. So
Yeah, well, good. At least we're not in it alone, right? So we can all relate, but still.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea, if Maddie and the producers of the show are cool with this, I would love to go out there. But I think a multi-series show, even if it's a part 1 or a 3-part series, whatever, it easily would take more than an hour. But I got to tell you, even if we did an update and did it over the course of a week, a 15 or 20-minute segment, all these pieces that Maddie's put together with the team at LaPorte Hospital, all these great people that are going to be there, each part is so integral in what we're doing and intricate.
Well,
you know
it
what I'm
is,
saying?
and I think that was proven to us when we visited the firehouse.
Sure.
Because, of course we were there specifically to tour the Edith house, but in just general chatting with them, and then, off camera, they took us on a tour of the firehouse, and you just getting to talk with them and laugh with them a little bit and learn a little bit about things that they do that are completely unrelated to the
Yes.
event and to fires, you know what I mean? Like what you would initially think. That's what sparked my interest, thinking, wow, I would love to touch base with the other community entities, I suppose, that are going to be there, because it really is so much more detailed than what they're going to be able to just exhibit that day. So I think it's a fantastic idea. I like it a lot.
Maddie, a text from the 269 asking me to ask you, when you say hazardous materials, are you talking about house products, which, like products we may use in the home around our children? That was the question. That's a good question.
Yes, there's going to be information on proper storage and disposal for common household chemicals, as well as items such as like batteries and tires and things like that. And that will be exhibited by our LaPorte County Hazmat team.
Fantastic.
That's a great thing to know.
Just to point out, though, this is not a day to bring any of that stuff. You do not want people to
Right.
bring, to dispose of anything, show up with their paint cans and stuff.
Hello.
Today is not the day for
Right,
that. Okay, just to clarify. Well, good.
And I think there'll be great information there. Maddie could probably expand on this with the solid waste district of LaPorte
Right.
County. They do a ton of these things, and we've been involved, year round, and really more specific from springtime through late fall,
Right.
where they have these different things where you can bring in, different things from the
Right.
pill drops to the
Right.
tires. Very specific though. So, we'll keep people updated here on Younger
Right.
Life with that as well.
Right, and you can get some more information on year-round places where you can take certain disposable materials that you wouldn't just throw away in your garbage can. For instance, if you have a old computer, hard drive, and technology, you can just take it over by the fairgrounds, by the small animal shelter. There's a trailer, and it's open during business hours. You just drop your materials off there. So all of that information will be provided to guests of the event.
Wow.
I'm
That's
liking
great.
this.
Really, it's going to be really cool.
So Maddie said, we're setting you two up. You guys are going on a tour. You're going to hang with the firefighters.
Yeah.
She looked at Rick Federici, says, you better behave, young boy. But why don't you set this up, Maddie? We obviously took a great tour. We were in LaPorte. We'll talk about this next segment we're going to scope out here on Younger Life, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay.
Excellent.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no problem. Let's play with this one a little bit. What
Right.
we're going to do is we're going to actually go to the tour that we actually did with
go ahead and
Younger
play
Life.
it? Right.
Yeah, let's play that right now. And
Okay.
and we'll come back and we'll chat with you if that's cool.
Okay. So the Edith House, which is
Yes.
going to be coming to the event, is going to be parked in the main entrance, and really it's a smoke house simulator. So if you were ever to be caught in a house fire, this exhibit, this hands-on exhibit, interactive exhibit, will demonstrate what it's like for the smoke to start coming in, and common household things that could lead to a house fire, such as stoves and in the kitchen, as well as in the bedroom, electrical fires and things like that. So the LaPorte City Fire Department officers give a interactive, about 20-minute tour of this house and discuss home fire prevention as well as escape plans if you were ever to be caught in a house fire.
And without further ado, let's hit up this piece here on Younger Life. Rick Federici, Mary Anthony, of course, Maddie, right here. Let's scope it out right now for your viewing and listening pleasure.
We never want to be involved in a house fire, but statistically, over the span of your lifetime, 1 in 4 people will have to deal with a house fire of some sort.
You know, today we're going to take you through the Edith House. We're here at the LaPorte City Fire Department, and we're going to give you some insight as to how you can prepare, be better, well-rounded about it, and get an education on it, and keep your loved ones safe and free of potential
And
fire.
make a plan, that's the most important. So they're going to tell us a little bit about that and take us on a tour, and hopefully we'll all feel better prepared afterwards.
We're here at the Edith House today, Captain Eric Saby and
I have Training Chief Brian Gardner.
you know, and this is a really neat, we want to educate folks, guys. And first off, thank you for everything that you guys do for our community, keeping us safe and, you know, kind of explain this. This to me is great. I have to know, what does EDITH stand for? EDITH. What is that?
Well, that stands for Exit Drills in the Home.
Okay, and that is awesome. Now, describe where we are at right now, if you guys wouldn't mind. What are we in right now? Is this a makeshift home? Talk about that.
It's basically basically a camper that they converted into a training prop for us to take around and use at different facilities, or just to bring people to our station and run through different groups.
And he did a great
To help
job.
plan for, you know, really make us all aware what happens in the event of a fire and how fast it happens, I think is what the biggest surprise. I know you guys go to schools, right?
Yeah, we go to schools, we go wherever is requested in LaPorte County and give our demonstration.
So during Fire Prevention Week, you guys are like the hottest ticket in the area. I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's a busy time of year.
Yeah, and you know what? We've done so many different events through the years where it's out there. You guys really educate the folks. So we're kind of in here. This would be, so folks that are obviously viewing right now, the classroom application, because to one side is where everybody would kind of view. So where would we be at right now? Technically in our home, we are basically in our kitchen area, correct? And we're basically in a family room kitchen corridor. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so what exactly do you guys want to kind of show us today? Because there are obviously a lot of things. We've got a fireplace, obviously with fire that is in there. We are around what would be a kitchen, and obviously in the kitchen we've got our stove, and we've got our different things. I see that we have a fire extinguisher. I want to ask you a question. Why is it so important? Should we all have a fire extinguisher in our home or in our business?
Yeah, it's very important to have one. You just never know when a fire's going to break out, and you have to make sure to have something right there readily available.
Now, how does that work with fire extinguishers? Should you have that checked once every, 6 months, a year? Is there a specific time of the year that we should have to make sure it's working properly?
I don't know if there's a time of the year.
Let's
Basically,
join them.
most of them have a gauge on it. You just
Nothing
check the
teaches
gauge and
like
make sure it's up
hands-on
to pressure.
experience, you know, and
after
it's
so
just
many
true in
years,
everyday life.
you might
no
want to
matter
think about
what.
replacing it.
Agree.
If you've had it for a long time.
We have So is there an
Yes.
actual expiration date on it?
Hold on.
I can't say I've ever seen one on them.
I was just curious. I
but-
can't think if far as.
But at a certain point, the material inside could start caking up and not want to
Okay.
come out properly. So
Okay.
Note here, always have one on hand.
We have one
around
under
your
the kitchen
area.
sink.
So do we.
Just in case, but I honestly can't say the last time I've checked the pressure on it. Would it be obvious to just anyone if it's
there's a gauge on there, and it gives you a little green line on most of them that
Okay.
the arrow should be lined up with.
great?
Okay, great. So we're here, and so what would be the first thing that we should know? Let's say we have a fire place. Maybe it's gas, or maybe it's wood burning. What should we know? What's the significance?
Well, we tell kids, basically we want to keep everything at least 2 feet away from the front of it. Fire, of course, is very hot, and we don't want anyone to get burnt. So we go over basic fire safety about keeping toys, animals, don't fall asleep in front of it, things like that. So basically just try to keep everything at least 2 feet away.
Now, I've noticed that you guys have like a grill application. A lot of folks have the sliding steel fronts to where they open and then they shut. That obviously protects us all from, I would assume, wood or ambers that would kind of like jump out or pop, for lack of a better word. Is that correct?
Yep, that is correct.
So someone's got a fire going in their home. What would be the first thing they would do? They want to go to sleep. They've had a nice family bonding night. Maybe they're watching a movie or just, chilling as a family. What would be the first thing that they should know? Because there obviously is a few things to a fireplace, when it comes to opening up the vent and different things like that. What should we know? What are the most important things that we should work with?
Well, as far as a fireplace, you don't want to load it up before you go to bed. That's the one of the number one things they tell people. Try to make sure it's all burned out beforehand. Close everything up nice and tight. Make sure everything's pulled away from it. So close your damper if you have an air damper. Basically try to prevent the fire from growing at all.
Okay.
I
The
think-
lack of oxygen,
yes.
Correct.
cut it all off,
Yep.
so it will hopefully die out on its own. So, okay. So when you do have a classroom in here, and you start, do you simulate the fire right away, or do you let them, the kids kind of ask questions, or any group you have with you?
Normally we'll go into a little bit of a talk about different things, smoke alarms and everything
Right.
else, and let them start asking questions. And then as it goes on, whatever questions they kind of lead us into whatever's.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a great point, and I'm glad you brought that up. Smoke alarms are vital to our existence, let's be honest. We all should have those in our homes and our businesses, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and we should check our batteries at least a couple times a year, because I know that you guys
They
chat
say
about
at
that.
time change, you're supposed to check your batteries, but they're coming out with ones that have 10-year batteries. You're not supposed to have to
Wow.
check, just so that people don't have to check their batteries all the time.
Wow.
And what is the importance? Kind of describe to the folks, why is it so important? What does that smoke alarm do? We kind of can guess and we know, but talk about that a little bit, please.
Smoke alarms are your early warning as to when something's wrong. It's not fire that gets most people, it's the smoke. Smoke is unburned fuel, and with everything that's burning in a house nowadays, it's basically petroleum products. So petroleum products put off a toxic gas that you'll succumb to, and then that's why they want you to get out early.
And that frightens me as a father, or as just someone out there, because the smoke is the thing that would hard when it's breathing. What would you say, just if you wouldn't mind, that we jump to that smoke application? You see smoke in your home. There's something going on. Something's wrong. What would be the first thing to do? I mean, a lot of people are going to react
First thing to do,
differently.
get out, call 911. Unless it's the size of a small garbage can, most fire extinguishers in the home aren't truly effective. They might put that out, but you still want to activate 911. For most places in the city, we can be in the city within 3 minutes or so. So
Wow.
if you give us the opportunity, we'll be there and hopefully keep it small to a room and contents or just a few belongings.
When you say get out, I think that's a great point to, brings us to the point of making a plan with your family, with your children, make sure everybody gets out to the same location, go out where you need to, but meet at the same location so you know that they're there.
And we have videos too that cartoons that we show the kids that illustrate that exactly, that
Getting
thing
out.
too.
Yeah,
Exit plans and things like that. So we
very
should-
important.
What kind of
About
advice
over.
could you gentlemen throw out there? We talk about our loved ones. A lot of us have pets, and a lot of folks, their pets are their children, let's
Absolutely.
be honest, and they're a part of the family. You're out as a family, everybody's accounted for except for your dog and your cat. What would you say to those folks that may be, viewing right now or listening? What would you say to them what to do? Kind of what?
Well, basically, for the most part, most pets will leave as soon as the door, either that or they're going to hide. So if you can tell us where their hiding spots are normally, it makes it easier for us to go find. That's part of the relaying information to us, makes our job easier.
We're in a situation where we are overnight. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, house is quiet. All of a sudden you notice that there's something going on. Someone's saying, oh my gosh, there's smoke in the house, and they don't know what to do, but the smoke is now pretty thick. What would we suggest to our children? Their door is closed. Is there something that they need to do, gentlemen, that could help them realize, should I go out of that door? Should I stay in the store? What should I do? I can't breathe. Can you kind of throw out a helpful scenario? I know everything's different, but can you throw out something?
Well, basically, we recommend that you sleep with your doors closed. So basically, you'd put your hand the back of your hand up to the door and see if it's hot. If it's hot, well, then you're going to want to go to the window and try to flag someone down. If it's a first story, you can get out. If it's a second story, they sell ladders and different stuff to put in the windows.
And I was going to say that's a great point for a lot of us that have that second story, or that those ladders should be positioned right alongside the windows and things like that. And would you suggest to go over these types of things with your family members, your children, kind of review, for lack of a better word?
Yes.
Say we do it all the time here with our drills that we do in training, and it's called muscle memory. When it's an emergency situation, you don't always think clearly. But if it's something you've done time and time again, it's just second nature and you go do it.
Spin our attention, if you wouldn't mind, here as we're in the Edith House, of course, today. LaPorte City Fire Department, thanks for the guys and the great teamwork that they all do. I'm going to spin around here. Let's scope out the kitchen area. What do we need to know about wherever the microwave's at, or for that matter, the stove or the oven? What would you say, gentlemen?
Well, we have a couple demonstrations here. We have this magical pot that moves on its own. We'll demonstrate real quick. So basically, this just illustrates that what you're not supposed to do while you're cooking. You never want to have a handle sticking out. A couple things that could happen: you could bump it, spill down on top of you, burn you really badly. It could be a little brother, sister looking up, want to pull on the handle to see what's going on, pull it down on top of them. So this just illustrates you don't want to do that.
That's an excellent point for the little ones. You don't think about it, but those of us that are parents know how easily and how fast that can happen from the burning standpoint. So that's an awesome point. Love it.
And it could be a dog too, a big dog that wants to get up there and see what's going on.
Sure.
So,
Smells,
not just limited to a child. Next we have a pot that's on fire, so we can illustrate what to do, how to put it out. Use a fire extinguisher. We say the pass method: point, aim, squeeze, and sweep. For younger kids, we just tell them to get out, get an adult. They don't want to mess with it. So that's pretty much what this is.
I love that. That's a really good example of doing it. And I think, like you said, no matter what the age is of the youngster, or let's be honest, wiser in years, as folks get a little wiser in their age, that may have never happened. But knowing how to put out that is phenomenal. And again, that is why it's so key to have a fire extinguisher very close by, or at least in your cabinet or on your kitchen area. What can cause a problem, to let folks know, to kind of give them a little education on the microwave, or even for that matter, the hood, the thing that's pulling up the ventilation?
Well, we tell people not to put metal or any aluminum objects like that in the microwave, because that could cause a fire and create all sorts of problems. So that's pretty much what we do with that.
That's an awesome point. I'm so glad you brought that up, because I don't think a lot of people realize you're not supposed to put aluminum foil in there until it has been kind of put in front of you, and you're like, whoa. What would you say if someone did that? Should they pull that microwave open right away to stop it, or just stop it with the stop button?
Well, they should do either one. Either pull it open. If it's not on fire, then they can go ahead and pull it open. But if there's fire in there, just shut it off, and then call the 911 so we can start on our way and check it out.
That's a great point. At the kitchen area, obviously. So this is the kitchen area. We talked a little bit about the fireplace. What would you be your suggestion if someone sees something, they plug a blender, or they're plugging in their radio into an outlet, and it sparks, or something just happens there? What would you suggest? Maybe they don't have a fire extinguisher. What would be a step that they could utilize to potentially protect themselves?
Well, we have GFCIs installed here. These are for wet locations, so anytime you're outside, kitchen area, bathrooms, that's required by a National Electric Code that you do that. So that protects against shocks and things like that. If you have arcs or sparks when you plug something in, if you feel it's maybe created a fire or an overheating hazard, call 911. We'll check it out. We have thermal imagers where we can check things and check for temperatures and see if things are taking off, and contact an electrician and see if it's up to code.
Now, I know you and I have chatted about, being in the bedroom application, and I know there's a lot of things. I want you gentlemen to talk a little bit about potentially what we should know about the bedroom, because are you going to give us a demonstration in this next room about some of the stuff? So explain, before we jump in there, what's going to happen in this particular room.
Well, we're going to we usually take the kids in there, go over a scenario, pretty much saying that we're going to smoke it up. It's going to be the middle of the night. They're going to be sleeping. Smoke detectors are going to go off. They're going to have to roll out of bed, and then get out and then go to their meeting place.
Okay.
That's
So you ready for that?
fantastic.
Can you guys show us how that works?
Yep.
All right, well, let's do that. This could actually happen to someone.
Yes. Yeah, that would
You
be.
start coughing,
Oh,
you
yeah.
become overcome with fumes, fear, I'm afraid. You
Fear.
had said something. What would you say as a mom? What would you?
This has always been my worst nightmare.
Right.
Middle of the night fire. So this scenario for me is certainly scary. Oh, right when we walked in, I said, I can understand how
I
some children
literally-
panic. I instantly, my first reaction is to want to grab everyone around
Right.
me. Where's everybody at?
And think about it this way. Picture yourself pitch dark, where you
I
can't
know.
see anything.
That would be horrible.
The smoke's in there, you could feel it. Okay.
I think naturally, and maybe it is just because we've been taught this our life, I do feel like I want to get down. I want to be on the floor where you would have more oxygen than smoke. I don't know if that's just because we've always been told that, get down as low as you can.
Okay, let's ask our pros here, our firefighters. What would we do in this case? Smoke is in our
So we
room.
wake up in the middle of the night, smoke detectors.
You'd get low, because if you got smoke in your room like this, the worst place to be is up high.
Okay.
The heat's up high, the smoke, the fuel, all the toxins are up high. So the lower you can stay, the better off you are.
Okay.
So we're gonna get down on our hands and
Oh,
knees.
see, that's already way
Oh
better.
my gosh.
That's big
That is
difference.
so different. That is unbelievable. Okay, so
So-
are we?
We would back it up. We would try to crawl towards our door to get out into the main house, but again, feeling if it was warm, right?
Do we scream? Do we say we're in here? We're in here. Like, do we say something to you? Like, or like if our family members we think are in there, what would we be doing? Like,
For us, you'd want to call out.
Okay.
If we're coming in, let us know where you are.
okay.
If
This
we
is
hear
crazy.
something, we can come to you.
So now I'm in a smoky room. It's hot. Smoke is filled in here. What will we do then? At that point, just stay down low to the ground.
Yeah, you're going to want to stay on the ground. You're going to crawl over to this window over here,
Okay.
and you're going to open it, and then there's a ladder on the outside, and you'll crawl out. So,
How do you-
It slides open.
Oh, okay. So we go up this way. Oh, I see. Okay. And these are the kind of ladders that you can actually purchase for real windows?
No, they're
or-
a chain hang ladder, so they'd be in a little rolled up
Okay.
thing, and you hook it over the window and then crawl.
Look at you. I'm going to.
Do it.
I'm out of here. Wow.
Fresh air, yeah.
Well, that's awesome, gentlemen. I so appreciate that. These are phenomenal tips. Absolutely so much fun today. Thank you to Eric and Brian for not only all that you do for our community and all the firefighters around the country, but truly giving us some great explanations and really helping us out here today. What a blast.
It's really cool, and it's a great eye opener too. I think I can understand why this would be so important to take your children through, and even as an adult, you think, oh, we have to make sure we have a plan, and I really think that this definitely makes that more evident. So I hope you have a ton of visitors in this thing at the Running with Scissors event on April 12th at the Civic. It's a free event. Come out, bring your family, bring your children. This is a great way to start a conversation that needs to take place too. So thank you so much for having us.
Thanks, gentlemen. All right, so there you go. That was absolutely
so
phenomenal.
fun. I know.
It's weird to see now, through the years you see yourself on TV and different things like that, or in this case, this video application. But when you see like a Rick Federici, climbing out the window.
Oh, it's really funny. I mean, it was so dark in there, so you couldn't see us as well. But truth be told, I know they had to shave some of that off. We had the terrible giggles that day.
We were laughing
the
so
fire
hard.
guys were so awesome.
They were
that
great.
They too were, funny. So again, thank you to Eric Saby and Brian Gardner for, taking us on the tour and being so good. Like, even when we had the giggles, they were all good with it.
We
They
actually
were
have some
fantastic.
folks here in the back part of the studio who were, watching the video. Folks, of course, watching it live as it was happening. They're like, "Hey, you guys, there's nothing on the picture." And I said, "Guys, that was the black. That was
was the room.
smoke. That was once they filled up the room with smoke." It was crazy. And I'll
It
tell you,
was.
we both got down. There was a part that they didn't have in there where we were actually crawling.
Yeah, you couldn't
You
even
and I.
see, right.
Oh my gosh, that was scary.
In a real fire situation, you
Yeah.
want to get as low as you can. And
Yes.
so that is, to get down to the ground. I even commented, oh, this is better. I can.
Yes, you can actually breathe.
It was different, yeah. And you know, as it started clearing out, you could see us a little better. But at first, you couldn't see anything. You know,
I
and
wanna know
again, my
what that
first
little-
reaction is like my hands are like everywhere. I need to know where everyone
Yes.
is and what's going on because it's just that's your
was-
first reaction.
That
You
is
just
my
can't-
first reaction when you said
it's-
that. I'm like, oh my gosh, Mary, you are so dead on because I would be
Yeah.
like trying to grab and grasp. and-
Absolutely, because it's
Something.
scary. You're very disoriented,
Yes.
and I can't imagine waking up to that. Truthfully,
Yes.
that has always been one of my worst fears, to wake up to a fire situation and already have it be that prominent in the home where you're disoriented from sleep, but disoriented from just not being able to see anything would be, would be horrible.
I'm sure-
And you know, the statistic in the beginning that the fire guys shared with us that 1 in 4 people over their lifetime deal with a house fire. Now that doesn't mean a burn your house down fire. That can mean a cooking fire or something. But to know that your odds at 1 in 4, wow, that is much scarier. You know what I mean? Just
Well, and
to
I
know,
think
so.
too, we were chatting with Maddie, which she'll rejoin us here in a couple seconds
I think she will.
on Younger Life. Maddie, of course, is still with us. Let's
Good,
pull
let's
Maddie
see.
back into this conversation because I think that was great. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Maddie, what did you think? What did you think of the video? There was it pretty cool or what?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And you guys asked some really good questions. I'm very excited to be able to feature that exhibit at our event. And in line with that in fire safety and home fire prevention, we're also going to be offering fire extinguisher simulation exercises with one of the vendors who actually comes to the hospital to train our clinical providers. And one thing that I learned at the last time, because I participated in that exhibit last fall while it was here at the hospital, was that you're supposed to have a fire extinguisher on every level of your home and ideally in 2 places, but that are easily accessible. And at that time, I didn't have a fire extinguisher in my house. So after doing the fire extinguisher training, it's this large screen and an actual fire extinguisher they hooked up to an electronic device, and he'll go through the proper way you're supposed to use a fire extinguisher in a sweeping motion at the base of a fire. And if you're doing it right, the fire will go out, and if you're not, it'll get bigger. So that's another hands-on way that people can get involved in emergency preparedness for any sort of fire situation that might occur in their homes.
I think that's a great point. I
Great
never
advice.
have actually used a fire extinguisher.
Really?
I haven't ever knock on wood, man. I haven't ever needed to.
Do you have one in your
we
kitchen or in your
do.
home? So do we. A
have
couple.
we have 2 in the house.
Yes, we
So,
do too.
I've had them, and we've checked them over the years for different, to see if they're expired or not.
Sure,
My
absolutely.
husband does that, but I haven't ever actually, done the pull and
Pull the pin and kind of.
pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I haven't ever done it, so I think I would love to. Did I get that right? Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep.
Yeah, that was really good.
Look at that. Look at that.
Look, I definitely
She
learned
was
enough.
listening.
I
She
was
was
listening and
listening
paying
during it,
attention.
yes.
But I would love to try. I think that's an awesome tool. I didn't even know that anything like that would be there. Either.
Maddie,
So-
one of the pieces of advice they also told us, which I thought was great for parents alike and even babysitters and grandparents, was when they were doing the demonstration on the stove.
Right.
And I've seen this at a lot of different, kitchens and places where people will spin the pan, but the handle faces out, protrudes past the actual oven itself or whatever. So God forbid, not only a child, but I didn't even think about this because I've always had small dogs, but
Yes.
a giant dog jumping up and hitting it with the paw
anything.
and then flipping it over. So I thought, that was a great piece of advice, Maddie,
It
that
was.
they brought up. And they also brought up the whole electrical outlet sparking fire situation, which I don't think a lot of people realize can happen and what you should do to not freak out. So I don't know if that has ever come up. Would you have thought about that, Maddie, with, younger children yourself, about the whole pan and the handle being spun out so it's actually protruding past the oven? I would have never thought of that, quite honestly.
I didn't before my first tour of the Edith house. And then after that, I have a almost 4-year-old and an almost 2-year-old. So, and their safety is my number one priority. So I'm conscious about moving the handle
Oh man, I grew up in
over.
a large.
But in addition, like more fire safety topics is like in the wintertime when you have space heaters in your home, there are certain precautions and mechanisms you should be utilizing when you have those on to avoid a house fire as well.
Perfect. Hey, and that was just a great thing. And this is just a part of, if you could recap, it's April 12th. Give us the
Right.
time again, because I do want to talk about a few other things. And I know that you have got some other insight, Maddie, on some of the other great events that LaPorte Hospital is doing. So one more time, could you kind of recap on this, on the event itself, the day, the time, where it's at for our Younger Life audience, please?
Yes, the event is going to be next Tuesday, April 12th at the LaPorte Civic Auditorium from 2 to 6 p.m. And in addition to all the great value-added exhibits and hands-on interactions that you can participate in going to this event, there's also going to be lots of giveaways, refreshments, and drawings for fire extinguishers, carbon monoxide detectors, first aid kits as well.
Okay, perfect. So this is going to be wonderful, and I'd love to be out there, and we'll chat offline about this with Maddie and everybody, and maybe some cool surprises up along the way once we get there. So, Maddie, there's so many events going on at the
Right.
LaPorte Hospital. Can you kind of delve into that a little bit here for our Younger Life audience, please?
Sure. Up next in LaPorte County on May 21st is the From Dirt to Delicious Do-It-Yourself Gardening Festival, and that'll be here on the LaPorte Hospital front lawn. We'll have tons of hands-on gardening activities for kids. There'll be 3 workshops for adults to participate in hands-on. The first one will be the basics of container gardening. So participants will get a container with dirt and herbs to plant themselves with Sasha G. Burns, the owner of Sunkissed
Right.
Organics.
We had her
And
on.
they'll be able to
She's
take
great.
those home. We did a gardening event last year, and she talked for 3 hours on these 3 different workshops, and people stayed for the whole time. And I think she's probably the only person that I could listen to talk about gardening for 3 hours and be entertained the entire time.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's very entertaining. She's very engaging too, and very relatable. So when she joined us before, man, we loved that, and we did talk about this event. We knew that it was going to be coming, and she had told us that. So we're trying to nail down something post the Running with Scissors and Other Things You Shouldn't Do event. Trying to set something up with her again, because we would love to get out there to her farm. Actually, is what we talked about the
Absolutely
last
agree with
time.
that.
So,
It'd be awesome.
right.
Yeah, it's good to listen to people who are passionate about what they're talking about. And if there's one major thing that I think Sasha's really passionate about, and it's gardening. And she does it really well. So we're very excited to have her come back and participate in this event. And that event is also a partnership between us and the LaPorte County Public Library. So there will be the mobile library on site. We're going to do some story times, gardening stories for the kids, and then there will be some garden-themed book giveaways for adults and children as well.
Someone just texted me, please ask Maddie if they're going to have tips for those of us that don't know how to garden. That's a great question.
Yes, the hands-on gardening workshops include, the first one's a container gardening. That's a hands-on one, which does require pre-registration because spots are limited in terms of the amount of materials that we have. And you can pre-register for the first workshop at delicious.eventbrite.com. The second workshop is a more intermediate level workshop, and that's designing the best garden for your space. So you'll be given a little clipboard and a piece of paper to kind of map out and grid the kind of garden that you can have. If you have an 8x8 space, if you have an 8x10, and Sasha will be going around and talking to people individually about what they can plant where. And then you also learn more about what vegetables can be planted together, what can't, planting times of the year when you should plant asparagus, and that you can't get a harvest of asparagus for a year after planting, and things like that. And then the third level class is going to be a more advanced workshop for people who might already have established a garden, and that's maintenance and insect prevention and things like that.
These
She's
are
great.
all phenomenal Younger Life extended pieces. I am telling you, people would flip out on this stuff because she was so informational and
was.
so great. I could see all these being extended, or at least vignettes that we could put inside a Younger Life,
yeah.
because people always ask us about these neat things. And
Well,
for a guy like me, I would love to learn too.
People were very responsive when we spoke with her before.
Sure.
She's just fun and great person. So I think that's without a doubt. We'll be speaking to her again prior to this event. I hope that this, she was explaining her farm and stuff last time, and about how much time she spends out there, and just the picture. I want to see it. So that would be a lot of fun.
You sure do. We'll roll around and have some fun out there. Maddie will join us. That'll be great. Maddie, what else does the hospital, LaPorte Hospital, of course, have in sight? Because I know there's so many things. I know that we're involved with the United Way dodgeball event again this year with multiple teams from LaPorte Hospital. I'll be the master of ceremonies out there. But what else do we got going on?
After the gardening event on May 21st, the Mommy Meetup, the second annual Mommy Meetup, will be on June 21st at the State Street Community Church from 5 to 8 p.m. And this year will be bigger and better. Last year we had such a great turnout. It was so crowded. So now the State Street Community Church has almost doubled in size.
Wow.
And so there's a ton more room for us to utilize to bring moms and families in our community more value. And in addition, we're adding another exhibit this year for partners in parenting. So your spouse, your boyfriend, your fiance, your grandma, your cousin, whoever's helping you raise your children, this exhibit is going to be inclusive of them, fostering healthy familiar relationships and developing your village, so to speak, when you're raising your children.
That's great, Maddie. Thank you so much for joining us and telling us about all these things. And I really look forward to the event on Tuesday, the running with scissors and other things you shouldn't do at the Civic. And these other things sound great. I can't wait to dig in deeper to those too. So.
There's always something going on. You can find it out at YoungerLife.org. And Maddie, we love having you on. You're always informational, fun, and it's great to just get your insights too from your perspective. So keep us updated, and thank the wonderful team over at LaPorte Hospital and all your colleagues for all that they do. And thanks for keeping us in tune here in the community.
Thanks for having me. You guys take care.
You got it. Thanks to Maddie. She is so cool. I love it. She just does such a great job. One of the other things I wanted to throw out there too, speaking of LaPorte Hospital, and you and I know this, there's a big hats off to our volunteer event coming up Saturday, May 7th. They're a part of, and they're actually helping out, talking about family advocates. And I just want to throw this out there, be a part of changing a life of a child. Family Advocates is a great organization dedicated to providing an environment of integrity and respect. There's going to be some really neat presentations there. We'll be out there, but thank you, of course, to LaPorte Hospital, who is helping keep the word out there. Hats off to our volunteers. Saturday, May 7th, again at the LaPorte Civic, starting about 6 o'clock. So
much going on.
There is. And it keeps us young.
And it's nice to hear dates like May 21st, June. What?
Thank you.
We're leading. Yeah, I know. It's nice to hear those are the upcoming events. I like that.
I got a text from someone asking us when we're going to do our bike ride. I also got another text. People
this month, hopefully, as far as the bike ride.
We got to set these up. I want it. We got to be a month or two out because we all have to know.
Just to forewarn everybody, when last time I talked to Stacy Kellogg, she's thinking June for the hike.
Perfect.
So we've got a ways date to be determined, but we know it's going to be June.
Yes.
And April's supposed to be our bike ride, so we're still waiting to hear back from.
Well, we're already into April there, young lady.
I know, that's it.
So you better talk to your people.
It's not my people. So we need a date. We need to definitely get that arranged because I think that there are a lot of people looking forward to that. Myself is certainly one of them. So
okay. The other thing we want to throw out there, we do have some other great things going on. Are we going to do, while we're wrapping up, we got about a minute or so left, Ask the Pharmacist? So we got that coming up this week?
That's supposed to be this week.
Perfect.
Tomorrow we have a married couple that has just reinvented their selves a little bit on the way that they live their life towards healthier lifestyle. So we're going to learn all about that. They're going to join us here at the studio. That'll be nice. Friday is supposed to be our Ask the Pharmacist.
Beautiful.
So I'm not sure if it's going to be Cindy again, which I love her. So she was awesome.
She was beyond fun, informational.
I know. So just be getting your questions together. The questions that we were not able to ask the last time, I saved. So at least we'll have a good base. But please send us those again. We'll squeeze them in.
Plus some great response on, speaking of questions, a little book of questions.
Oh yeah,
which we'll do
in
the upcoming weeks.
That's always our little fun.
Well, I had such a great time with you. Thanks again for your energy and your passion to the show. I thoroughly love this show. Younger Life. I'm Rick Federici.
I'm Mary Anthony.
Have a great day, everybody.
AM 1420, WIMS, Michigan City, a Girard Media Company station.
CBS News, I'm Steve Kaith, and World Health officials say there's been a four-fold increase in diabetes cases over the last quarter century. Obesity and an aging population, just two of the factors in the mix. Here's CBS's Vicki Barker.
The WHO says public health campaigns worldwide have failed to stop a global obesity epidemic, and that in turn is fueling a surge in type 2 diabetes. 422 million adults now suffer from the condition worldwide. That's 4 times the number in 1980. People in northwestern Europe have the lowest rates. Diabetes is growing fastest in low and middle income countries like China, India, and Mexico. Not a single country on earth has succeeded in lowering its diabetes rate. Vicki Barker, CBS News.
Also on the health front today, CBS's Pam Coulter has more on a federal money shift in the Zika fight.
Congressional sources say the White House will transfer 75% of $600 million earmarked for Ebola to the CDC's effort to combat Zika, which is linked to a serious birth defect.
In the race for the White House, the presidential frontrunners are regrouping after losses in Wisconsin. Ted Cruz won the Republican battle over Donald Trump. CBS's Major Garrett.
What Trump has to do is shore up his campaign, minimize negative publicity, and remind voters why they were attracted to him in the first place.